Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time today to join today's webinar. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Renika Lightbond with Advanta IRA, and I'm really excited today to be joined by subject matter expert, Mr. David Randolph of Short Sale Profits. David, again, thank you so much for being our featured speaker.
Thank you.
So David is going to cover some of the fundamentals as it relates to short sale real estate investing, how to go about analyzing deals, and then also too some key factors when it comes to negotiating with banks and homeowners. Before I turn it over to David, I just want to give you really quickly a summary of what self-directing is. If you have questions, definitely feel free to type those in the question box. We will allocate some time at the very end to get those answered for you. So again, I'm Renika Lightborn with Advanta IRA. I'm one of the business development specialists. I've been with Advanta as an employee since 2019, but I'm also an active self-directed IRA investor as well. I'm a client of Advanta prior to joining as a staff member. If you do have specific questions relating to your scenario, definitely feel free to give me a call or send me an email. I'm happy to help. So just a little housekeeping before we get started. Advanta, we don't give any tax, legal, or investment advice. We also don't endorse any particular product. Just know that the information that we provide to you is just more so for educational purposes. So as always, we do encourage you to confer with your professional team, whether it's your CPA or an attorney or a financial advisor. Just a little bit about Advanta and who we are. We are recognized as one of the leading self-directed IRA administrators in the industry. We've been in the business for nearly 20 years. Our headquarters is located in Largo, Florida, which is the Tampa Bay general area. We also have an office here in Atlanta, which is where I'm stationed, but we work with clients nationwide. We do have well over $1 billion under our administration. And at Advanta, one of the key ways that we focus in terms of separating ourselves is just providing our clients that high quality concierge style service. So for you as a client, you have a dedicated person, a direct point of contact. And then, of course, our educational platform, providing guest speakers and experts such as David to come on and knowledge share with our audience. So exactly, what is a self-directed IRA? In its simplest form, self-directed just simply means that you get to decide what works best for your retirement funds. You have control over the investment decisions. You can elect to use IRA funds to invest in pretty much a universal list of opportunities, which includes real estate, and we're going to be talking about real estate today, more so short sales, but you can use IRA funds to invest in the likes of notes and mortgages. We did a webinar earlier this week on Tuesday specifically about notes. So definitely all of our webinars are recorded, so you can refer back to that if that's an interest to you. You can use IRA funds to invest in private equity, say like a private company or a bank or a startup company. You can look to use IRA funds to invest in so many things, which includes oil and gas, digital assets. The list goes on in terms of what you can do. You may ask yourself, well, why do people choose to self-direct? You can look to self-direct for any number or combination of reasons. It's not end all be all, but I'll just highlight 3 of them. One of which, it can be a new source of capital for you. If you have money that's just sitting idly in an old 401k, you can elect to roll those funds over to purchase that next short sale property without having to take out a personal loan or tap into your personal savings. Another reason as to why people choose to self-direct is because of the ups and downs with the stock market. One day it's up, next day it's down. With self-directing, first and foremost, it gives you the option to really diversify or truly diversify your account because you have so many different options. But also, too, a lot of investors specifically like using their IRA funds to purchase real estate because we know real estate always holds value. And then, of course, finally, the tax benefits, having those profits, those rents, those dividends flow back into that retirement account, tax-free or tax-deferred, just depending on the type of account that you have. And then also, too, like if you don't want to deal with tax liabilities personally, you can elect to make that investment within the IRA and not have to worry about taxes. In terms of the different types of accounts that can be self-directed, just know that any type of IRA qualifies, whether you have a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. If you are self-employed, you have a side business or a side hustle, you can look to self-direct a SEP, simple or solo 401k. The solo 401k does have a lot flexibility, higher contribution limits, but again, if that's of interest to you, we can do a deeper dive one-on-one. Know that any former employer plan, like an old 401k, or 403b, or a TSP type plan qualifies to be self-directed. Some smaller accounts that we've seen an increase in clients looking to self-direct is an educational savings account, ESA, so you can self-direct that for your children. HSA, health savings account, to cover medical related expenses. To be eligible for an HSA, it's depending on having a high deductible health coverage plan. The key thing to take away is just knowing that any type of IRA qualifies. The contribution limits does vary, so it's, you know, depending on the type of account that you have. And then with the Roth, the distribution is tax-free at retirement. In terms of getting started with us at Advanta, we've really streamlined that process for our clients in 3 simple steps. First and foremost, step 1, you would go through and complete the application. Our IRA application, you can do that electronically via DocuSign. We will be there to walk you through and answer any questions that you may have about the application process. Also, too, you will have an assigned account manager once your account is open with us. Step 2 is funding the account. You know, are you rolling funds over from that old 401k? Are you, transferring from an existing IRA? It's no tax liabilities to you, just moving from one qualified retirement account to another. Or are you making a cash contribution in according to the limit that the IRS has in place for that type of account? And then finally, step 3, what is it that you want to invest in? You get to decide. So real estate is your preferred strategy, short, and within real estate, if short sale is your preferred option, you can certainly do that. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to David so he can kind of give us his go through his presentation and talk about the process of short sale investing. David, you should have.
I am getting it set up here. Do you see my screen?
I sure do, yes.
Okay, wow, that was amazing. I feel like I got an engineering degree right there, but I actually do. Well, welcome. I hope everybody can hear me. My name's David Randolph. I'm pretty nervous here with all these very important Advanta clients that we have. So I guess maybe you can put your questions in the chat box and I'll just kind of concentrate on my presentation and run through it, and then we'd be glad to answer any questions about anything you might hear as we go along. I will warn you that there is a lot of material and we're having to keep this to 1 hour. So when I get to parts, you'll want to know more about it and we won't have time to do that. So if you text the word short to me, you can get these slides. You can also get some more free information from me about short sales. So I can't present everything here, otherwise we'd be here all day long. So when I get to an area and you got a question, just drop it in the chat box and Renika can, I have no idea where the chat box is, but Renika, I'm sure, will be able to read them out loud at the end of the presentation with it. So let me go ahead and just figure out how to make the button move here. So my name's David Randolph. This is an introduction to short sale profits. Okay, because when you do short sales, you're making a lot of profits. So, a lot of people want to know, what short sales are with it. I have to figure out how to get the screen to move here.
Oh, my apologies, David. If you click on one of the arrows, up, down, right, left, like make sure you're on the actual presentation itself and then move yes. There you go.
Thank you. Okay, all right. So I guess they always want to do a little background about who the presenter is because you actually may not actually know me. So, once it makes a few things clear here that I'm not an attorney, I'm not an accountant, I'm not even a real estate agent, and I don't play any of those on TV either. So, matter of fact, I'm really, just a regular kind of guy. I'm an investor like you, an entrepreneur. This is for educational and training purposes. None of this presentation is meant to be tax or legal advice. And this is actually really just what my experience has been doing short sales over the past, 10 or 11 years. This is what I've seen. This is my world of short sales. And this is from the perspective of a real estate investor. This is not as a real estate agent doing them as a flat fee, for other realtors kind of thing. This is for you buying the house, fixing it up and selling it, or maybe you just buy it and resell it. So this is for you as a real estate investor with it. So anyway, some background, I'm the founder of Short Sale Profits, the founder of thedavidrandolph.com on it. I have learned from the best people in the nation, national experts. I do a lot of research. You're gonna see that I do a lot of research. I know a lot of information. I like to create step-by-step procedures, follow checklists. So I run my real estate business as a business. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, with several business income streams. My background is chemical engineering and computer science, so that makes me really very anal with it. And so, as that engineering background, I've applied that to real estate. I actually retired from my corporate job in 2006 at the age of 42. My wife and I became full-time real estate investors in 2010. So from 2006 to 2010, we actually homeschooled my kids. Then they went off to college in 2010, so we became full-time real estate investors. I'm really just a small guy. I've got small companies. I'm not some big brokerage with 50 people working under me. Really, it's just my small company, Realtor Renovator LLC. It buys, rehabs, and sells just about 5 or 10 houses per year. One of my claims to fame is all my renovated houses, listed under 260,000, on the MLS. They've actually sold in 7 days or less at list price or higher for 10 years, including the one last week that just closed $2,000 over list, over our original price. And then next month I've got another house coming up. It doesn't matter whether it's a great market now or it was over the past 10 years, they've all sold in very quickly. It's actually 2 days or less in 16, 17, and 18. My typical profit is about $90,000 per house. And that is because I negotiate and buy houses as short sales, the topic of this presentation. Now, I'm working directly with the homeowner and the lender. These are not, I will repeat, these are not houses listed on the MLS with a realtor. Okay, you are first seeking out the homeowner who's in trouble, and then they're authorizing you to then talk to their lender. And so you're doing this directly with the bank. My houses are drop dead gorgeous. That's why they sell. I've actually made so much money in real estate that I've got almost $3 million in my, and I should use the word retirement accounts, because IRA, there's Advanta's got a lot of other products that, they've got a great 401k system, a document, it's a huge document, but they've got a great 401k plan. So I've got almost $3 million in my retirement accounts. That's money that my wife did not spend. And so it made it to the IRA. Before there, she spends it all. I actually have a private lending program, so I'm a hard money lender. I'm a little bit unique in that I'll lend you all the money to fix the house, all the money to buy the house, all the money to fix it up, all the money for the points on the loan, and all the money for the monthly interest payments. So if you want to contact me for private lending, then do that. I know that Renika's got a great pitch, kind of where you can pitch your stuff to people. Literally, it's networking. It's just literally, sharing what you can do for other people. And if you're not part of that, you definitely need to get logged in or signed up for those webinars where we do that on Fridays or every other Friday. Just check the website. It's a great way to meet people. I do a lot of lending to other rehabbers on there, and that's my heart and passion. This is how I lend out. I want new rehabbers to get out of their job. In 2018, I actually started doing one-on-one real estate coaching and developed some workshops. People came to me with blank checks and said, David, we know you and we see what you've done for 10 years. Would you please teach us to do that? So I'm now doing one-on-one coaching. My very first presentation on short sales was in July of 2019 for a local RIA group. And from there, I've been doing coaching and have developed workshops. And so I really love doing short sales. As a matter of fact, this year, I'm probably cutting my 10 rehabs down to 5 years just because I'm trying to help more people be able to do short sales. I've developed 3 all-day workshops, a basic, intermediate, and advanced. So short sales are a very good method and way of buying houses. Now, what are they? Okay, so I don't know who the audience is. You may not know what short sales are. So let's go through and kind of cover what short sales are. What is it? Okay, so a short sale basically is really simple. It's when the homeowner can't sell their house for enough money to pay their debt off. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is that the debt is not just the loan. It's not just the mortgage from the bank. It's actually any second liens, it's any judgments from credit cards. So it's everything, it's HOAs. And so that's what basically causes the house to be a short sale, where they owe more than what they can sell it for. Now, keep in mind, it's not the list price, right? You only get about 85 to 90% of what you list the house for. You've got real estate commissions, closing cost, inspection fees. So, they can't just put the house up on the market for $200,000 to pay off a $200,000 mortgage with it. Now, they the homeowner, is in a situation where they've got usually a pending foreclosure coming up. And so, there's, now this is going to be some, state specific, okay? So you've got, states that are judicial and they are non-judicial. I want to kind of clear something up real quickly for those that are experienced in short sales. Judicial and non-judicial only changes your method of marketing. The actual process of negotiating the short sale is almost virtually identical. It's pretty much federal. Fannie Mae, FHA is a federal program. It's across the nation with it. Now, some states have letters they send to the homeowner. Some states, have different methods of trying to notify the homeowner, about their particular situation. So in Missouri, they have to post an ad for 21 days in the county legal newspaper. So in all states, you have a certain number of days. Georgia is 30 days. But in all cases, they have to be posted the legal description in what's called legal newspaper, okay? Some of the other problems they have is that there's usually deferred maintenance and repairs that are needed. So, so that basically, you've got a situation where the home, is not something that you can, easily sell, okay? Most buyers, okay, they can't get a traditional loan on a short sale because the approval process takes too long. So what I'm trying to say here is that the lender, the seller's lender, usually will not approve a buyer with a traditional loan versus cash. And here's why. They don't know that your lender is going to approve you. So they don't want to stop a foreclosure. They don't want to go through a process of the buyer actually being able to close it. So, you want to have a cash offer with it. The lender will require that home to be sold as is. In other words, you can't turn in, if you want to buy a house that's a short sale, you can't turn in an offer with an inspection clause because the seller's not allowed to spend one dime, one penny on that house. So you have to turn your offer in as is with it. The lender, they have to actually approve the buyer. Yeah, can you believe that? They have the say in who it is, and there are a lot of stipulations with that. In the old cowboy days, in 2009, 2010, it was crazy, and they were changing the rules all the time. Today, it's very well structured with it and stuff. And so, as long as the buyer is not related to the seller, that's really all they care about. They don't actually really even care about the buyer being the real estate agent, okay? Ultimately, it's the seller cannot be related to anybody else in the transaction. Now, all parties, and we're even talking about here the title company has to be unrelated, unless you disclose that. Now, in this case, let's say that you're the buyer and you're the real estate agent on the house. That's perfectly okay, but they'll usually cut your commission to zero. You just disclose that and then they cut it to zero. Why they cut your commission to zero, I don't know. but it's just a way for them to not have to pay or not, not to lose as much money on that particular loan on it. Some things that, that you want to look at in here, is that the lender is going to require, the listing agreement to be canceled at any time. So a lot of times people turn in paperwork and it gets denied. So there's a lot of people don't like short sales because of the paperwork, and the bank, loses things. Well, it's because you're not turning in the paperwork properly. There are statements that you have to have on there. And one of these big ones that you have to have is, that there has to be the ability for the seller to cancel a listing agreement, at any time, without paying a commission. And so, they don't want the house to go to foreclosure and then have a realtor come back later and say, hey, wait, we had a listing agreement on it. Somebody has to pay the commission. On non-FHA loans, the lender, may put a deed restriction on the buyer. Okay, so you need to be aware that the buyer can't sell the house within 30 days for any price. I don't care if your mother's in the hospital dying and you need money for a surgery, you cannot sell that house for even a penny within 30 days. Furthermore, you can't actually sell it for more than 20% from 30 to 90 days. So just be aware of that, when you're buying houses, that are basically not FHA. Now, not all, this is usually Fannie Mae. So you've got FHA and you have Fannie Mae. There's a lot of others like VA and stuff, but your FHA is one type and your Fannie Mae is your other major type. So a Fannie Mae loan has this potential to have what's called a deed restriction. Not always, and it's all dependent on the type of investor behind it. But just know that you can't sell that for more than 20% of what you paid for it within the first 90 days. And that doesn't matter. You can put a $50,000 rehab into it. You still can't sell it for more than what you paid for it, more than 20% than that. All lenders, they require a series of documents to be submitted for approval. And so, you're going to have to turn in documents and stuff. Hang on a second here. Trying to make sure I got the right thing. Okay, so you have to turn in an RMA document. You have to turn in a listing agreement. Like I said, text short to this number to get the slides. I'm going to have to kind of fly through some of these with it and stuff. Then you have a listing agreement. So it's broken into kind of two sets of documents. You have the bank's documents called the RMA form, and then you've got the listing agreement and special sales contract documents, then contractor estimate and stuff. Hang on a second. I'm gonna check something on my slides here. Make sure I'm in the right place here. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Apologize. I'm technically challenged on it here. Let's get back to where we're at. Okay. So anyway, this is just, and so once again, get the slides. This, I don't expect you to write everything down, but just know that there's a set of documents that are critical that have to be turned in. This is the reason why so many people don't like short sales, is they don't know what has to be turned in. But if you do, then it's really good. All lenders want a broker price opinion, or an appraisal. So keep in mind, the bank will tell you what you have to pay for the house. They will do an appraisal. They're a 600-pound gorilla, and they come out and they determine what the value of the house is, and they tell you that you have to pay that, and they will give you an approval letter. Okay. Now, when you have that approval letter, okay, they'll give you some time to close on it. So you have to close usually within about 30 days. So you go through all this documentation process. They come out and do this broker price opinion or a full appraisal, and then they come back and go, we have determined that the house is worth X amount. And so therefore, the buyer has to pay this number, take it or leave it, so to speak. And so that approval letter gives all the conditions that you hand over to your title company to be able to close on it. Now, you have 30 days to close or that approval letter expires. Now, how long does it take to get to that end point, to closing, to buying the house? That takes about 3 to 9 months, okay? And it does take a long time, but a lot of people forget that it's a thing like it's a backlog issue. Yeah, so don't quit your day job right now, okay, but start doing short sales and build up those in your pipeline so that now every month one comes off. I don't care that I started it 3 months ago. All I know is this month I've got a house that I'm buying. And stuff. And so, it's the time you put into it. I did one for coaching students, a video. I did a Zoom from beginning to end, and I rushed through the short sale as fast as I possibly could. And it took me 2 months to go through the short sale. And I recorded it on Zoom, even in my pajamas. I don't know if we can say that on a webinar with Advanta, but I was recording everything on the screen, typing up the documents, sending them in. I recorded the meeting with the appraiser at the house. The whole total number of hours was only 22 hours for that short sale from beginning to end, all the way through. Now, I didn't get as low a price as I would like to get because I didn't, I didn't, do anything to look at their comps and say, well, those aren't the right comps, and to try to basically go through the dispute process that they have. But I bought the house for $54,000, and it's worth $180. Okay, I could have bought the house for $40,000, but I wanted to have the recording. So give you a perspective. If you rush it through, you might be able to do it in 2 months. So I think that you should plan on 3 to 9 months, with that. Like I said, the lender negotiates the sale price of the house, but they're really looking at the net. So keep that in mind. So many people focus on the appraised value. The bank is only looking at the net. So if you have real estate commissions, if you have prorated real estate taxes, that's actually what they're looking at. It's not the actual sales price, but rather the net. So if you have ways to have a reduced real estate commission, maybe you're a realtor yourself with it, they're only looking at the net, not the sales price. And so the lender is going to negotiate either with the listing agent or the listing agent's short sale processor. So that's what I am representing in my deals, the short sale processor, for it. The listing agent, many of them don't want to do short sales, right? Because they're still getting the same 6% commission. And why do they want to do all the work of that, particular short sale? So many real estate agents farm this short sale out to a short sale processor. You're not really a short sale negotiator because the banks don't negotiate. They tell you exactly what the price is. And so you're really just a processor of the paperwork for it and stuff. And so almost every state in the United States, anybody can be a short sale processor. There are exceptions, like say, for example, in California and in Florida, where you have to be a licensed realtor or an attorney, but mostly throughout the United States, anybody can be the short sale processor, handle the paperwork, deal with the bank and stuff. Now it's very important, for all the parties to be, unrelated on paper, okay? And so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but that's basically, what the concept is, you have different entities. So, at one point in time, you're the negotiator, processor, person, as some people call it, and sometimes you might be the realtor. You might be the manager of your LLC. Anytime you sign your name, you always should put a comma, manager, comma, personal. So the point being, without this, short thing, I mean, you'd have to take the all-day workshop, but, all the parties involved have a role, and so those are very important with what they are. Now, why do they do them? Okay, why do they do short sales? Okay, so for the borrower, that's the borrower, homeowner, seller, they're all three names, right? The borrower is to the bank, they see the borrower. To the physical house, it is the homeowner. The homeowner is the owner of it, and the seller is, to you. You're the buyer, and that's the seller. That will be foreclosed by the bank if the loan's not paid in full unless agreed. That's a fact. You have a promissory note. They must pay it in full. If they don't, then they're going to foreclose. The borrower will have a deficiency and owe the balance. They'll have a deficiency, so the bank forecloses, takes the house and resells the house, for a very low price. Then the borrower has to pay the difference between the loan and what the bank ended up selling the house for, and that's called a deficiency. Now, few exceptions. The state of Arizona, they don't have deficiencies. The bank takes the house back, but they, and then they don't owe the money. But most all states have some form or type of deficiency, and that the bank may or may not choose to pursue. But that's a big, carrot with it. And of course, the foreclosure is a carrot too. The seller doesn't want to hurt their credit and stuff like that. But anyway, so the choices are to try to, let it go to foreclosure, have a deficiency, or come to a short sale with you where the bank will give them a $1,500 to $3,000 check. That's a huge difference when they knew that their house was underwater, that they couldn't sell it and pay the loan off. Now all of a sudden, they're able to get a $3,000 check and stuff. And so, in a foreclosure, there's going to be a big hit on their credit score, up to 300 points for about 5 to 7 years. In a short sale, it's about 50 points for 1 year. Big difference in that. Why do them? Well, the borrower may have to file bankruptcy, which is going to hurt their credit for 5 years. And then right after the bankruptcy, the bank actually has to do a foreclosure. And see, the attorneys don't actually tell them that. But a bank has to go through the foreclosure process to get the legal title. So bankruptcy will wipe out the deficiency, yes, but now that's on your credit score. And then the bank does a foreclosure, now that's on your credit score. So a short sale, there are many reasons, why the seller wants to do them. The borrower is going to have to move out on the foreclosure date. In a short sale, they stay there the whole time. That whole 2, 3, 6 months, they're staying in the house the whole time. They get to start over. They get to save their money up while the short sale's being negotiated with the bank, as the bank calls it, and stuff. Why do them? For me, I get gratification helping families out. Okay, they cry at the closing table with relief and stuff. You have helped them out of a situation that's been building for years. And stuff. The buyer, we bring up the value of subdivisions. We are renovating these houses, we are selling them and stuff. And so, the banks realized that in 2009 and 10, they didn't want us to do a short sale with an LLC. Okay, you had to be like a single mom with 3 kids, and then they would approve the short sale. As a buyer today, they realize that no, wait, us rehabbing companies, rental companies were fixing these up and getting them on the market, and then people are getting big loans on them and stuff. The buyer, we provide a lot of jobs to a lot of people versus it sitting there and decaying. So there's a lot of reasons. Now here's 3 very big reasons, okay? It may be the only reason you're on this call to learn about short sales, as an investor, entrepreneur, is, massive profits, massive profits, massive profits. And I took that from, in real estate, it's all about location, location, location. Well, in short sales, for you, it's all about making massive profits, okay, with it. So let me just run through these on here very quickly. I like to give you real examples. You can go look this stuff up on public records on it. So here's an example of a house that, they always say, well, show me some examples, what you did. So I threw a few out of 100 houses or so in here. So here's a particular house that this house was basically one that was sold for $205,000. It was rehabbed. The house actually had been underwater. The subdivision didn't have a drainage system. And so when it rained really hard, the subdivision filled up with water, and a tree limb hit the basement window and filled the house up with water, and it wasn't a walkout basement. and the lady heard this noise and went down her stairs to the basement, and the first step hit water. Her basement was full of water. And so that was one particular short sale. So I'm going to be asking a quiz here, and you can type this into a chat box somewhere, and we'll see how good you are with it. So this house was renovated. It was sold for $205,000. The rehab cost was $71,000. So what would you have paid for that house? Okay. So all you real estate investors following different formulas, like Mayo is 0.7, 75, times it, whatever you think your number is, what would you have paid for that house? Now it's obviously, got to be, less than 130 because you would lose money. You got to have some commissions, you got to have some profits. So, what would you have paid for that house? Okay, with it. So go ahead and calculate that up real quick. I'm not going to wait on you or anything like that, but I'm going to go over here so you don't see the answers and everything. So $33,900. Okay, $99,000 profit on that house. Okay, I'm going to have to keep going. So just text short to 636-685-2990 and get the slides because I'll have to keep going here. Okay, so does that answer the question why I do short sales? Okay, well, if not, then let's look at another one. Okay, here's a house here. It's a little bit bigger house. It didn't flood, but this was a hoarder house. I don't know how you spell hoarder. H-O-A-R-D-E-R. Those people that put stuff in everywhere in the house and they stack it up and they walk down through paths. This was a hoarder house. Okay, I sold this house. Let's see. This house was rehabbed. This house was sold for $274,000 on it. The rehab was about $80,000 on it. So what would you have paid for it? Okay, so once again, you'd have to pay less than $200,000, right? Because you would only be breaking even. What would you have paid for this house with your Mayo calculations or any other version you have? Plug it into a spreadsheet. I want you to tell me how much would you have paid for this house? If you're doing or not doing short sales. Okay, $65,000. Yes, $129,800 profit. It was bought for 65, 80 was put into it, and it appraised and sold to a retail buyer for 274. Okay, does that answer the question why you want to do short sales? Okay, let's look at another one. Okay, here's a house. Let's see, I don't remember the exact history on this one. Oh, I know why I showed this one. I'll do this real quick here. The house sold for $389,000. I also put about 80 in it. It's kind of interesting. Most of my rehabs are around 80, and they're full rehabs. I guess that's about what it costs to rehab a house. Drywall is up, but you're, putting new kitchen and baths in. So 389. So what would you have paid for this house? Okay, 389 has to be less than 310, otherwise you wouldn't be able to pay your commission, okay, on it. So calculate that up. Okay, bought it for 168, made $141,000. Okay, this house is in here because I remember it distinctly. That money was wired to my account. I called my wife up and said, honey, we're going on vacation. We're flying to that island because if you can't make $141,000 and take vacation, then you're not doing this for the right reason. So when that happened, we flew straight to an island, took vacation, which for me can be a little bit unusual to take vacation. But now I will tell you that the vacation was for a real estate conference, and so it was a business write-off. So that, but still we did actually take a vacation on it. So does that answer the question of why you want to do short sales? So you can take vacations. This house, okay, real quickly, here's an example of a pretty house. Okay, this is a pretty, what they call a pretty house. It was like 8 years old, had granite countertops, wood floors. Okay, and so this is a short sale. It's sold for $223,000. Now I did put $31,000 in it. Now here's the reason why. I'm a rehabber. I felt guilty. The basement was unfinished. I have to do something to the house. So I finished the basement I did some paint and carpet, I already had granite, but that's really all I did. Everything else was finding the house. No remodeling the kitchen, no remodeling the bathrooms. The wood floors were fine. There was some carpet upstairs that I replaced. So what would you pay for it? Okay, so it's got to be less than 180. Okay, 110,000. Made $81,000 on what's called a pretty house. Okay, now that's not 150 or 120, but I didn't really do anything to it, other than a basement. So does that answer the question? Let's move on. We're probably going to have to skip these houses here. We're running out of time. Okay, on it. Look at this one here. Here's one that that was sold for $240,000 with a cash offer. Put $2,200 in it. Fixed some squeaks in the floor. My kid did that. My son screwed down the floors because they had squeaks. $2,200 is because I bought it and I resold it. I don't ever sell a house to somebody else. I always buy the house. When you're doing short sales, you should always be the buyer of the house and close on the house. If you don't have the cash, then come to the Friday networking events that Renika has and get private lenders to fund you. When you make this kind of profit, everybody in that group will fund you, no problem. Okay, and so I made $80,000 on a house that we didn't do much of anything to. Okay, so we're going to have to skip these because we are running out of time with it and stuff. So text short to 636-685. 2990 and get all those slides. I'm going to kind of skip them because I want to leave some time for questions and stuff like that with it. I've got hundreds of houses and stuff. And so how do you get them? Okay, how do you get them? You need to know that there's a very important document that you need that lets all this take place. And if you text the word short, I'll give you that free document. So text 636-685-2990, text that word short, and there's a very important document that you need to have that lets this whole process go through and lets you handle everything with the bank, okay, on it. Now, so now how do you find them? How do you get these people? I have this little phrase, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. That's the people that you're looking for. These people are in trouble, okay? They don't, have excess cash. Their money, their paycheck has gone into that 65-inch LCD TV. Okay, they can't make their electric payment with it. These people are in trouble. You need to have a heart to help them. Okay, they need to like you. They need to believe that you can help them in some way out of their situation. Okay, now marketing is a big part of how to get short sales. If you don't actually reach out to them, they don't know to call you. If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a noise? Well, it depends if somebody's there or not. You need to be there for the homeowner. Okay, where are these trees at? How do you find these people? Okay, with it. We know that anytime a short sale fails, it becomes a foreclosure. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind. If you look at foreclosure statistics, and there was so many homes foreclosed this month, every one of those is a failed short sale. Just imagine how many are there that are actual true short sales. How many did David Randolph do that I pulled out of foreclosure and saved the family? And so there's actually a lot more there than what you know. When you see a foreclosure, that's where someone has failed. Okay, but that's a good target for you to go after. Okay, so let's find the foreclosures. Okay, in all states, a lender is required to post the legal description and the borrower's name for a certain number of days continuously in a legal newspaper in the county where the property is located. So keep that and write this down. It goes by county, it goes by legal newspaper. I'm not advocating for you to buy list from an aggregator source, okay? You are getting the information from the legal newspaper in the county where the property resides. So let's go after these people. Let's reach out to those people. Let's go into the woods where they're at, okay? Now these people, okay, they're desperate, okay, because in so many days, they're not going to have a place to live. So each state's a little bit different. Judicial, they have a much longer time frame, okay? In a non-judicial state, okay, they just post it for 21 days and it's gone. The house is taken from them with it and stuff. And so, here you've got, a certain amount of time frame, and you have to be nimble and quick. Actually, I wish I was in a judicial state. Missouri's non-judicial. I wish I lived in a judicial state because it stretches it out for a long time. The bank can't take it very quickly, okay, and stuff. So now these people, we're reaching out to these people that are on this list that is publicly posted. It doesn't necessarily cost you any money for the list. It might cost you if you want to get an internet version of it, type thing with it, but we're reaching out to those specific people, okay? And so here, where they're at is everything that homeowner has tried to do has not worked. So the bank has given up, the homeowner's given up, and they're now in a position where they are being foreclosed on. So the seller, the homeowner, is willing to provide anything to you to help them stop the foreclosure. Say you're going to be the expert, okay, versus what they are, and so they're going to seek out your help to process the paperwork to postpone the foreclosure. They haven't been able to do it, okay. If they could have found a buyer for the house, they would have already, okay. They don't expect to get any money from the sale because the loan is too large. Your goals are aligned with the seller and the bank. I want to repeat that. All three of you, the seller, okay, and the buyer are all aligned together with the bank. They want the loan paid off, and you're going to help the bank get their loan paid off at the fair value of the house, okay? And so, for that seller, you're giving them much more time in the house to live with no payments. When you do a short sale, it doesn't matter if they owe $100,000 or $100 million. It's all wiped to zero. So those monthly payments that they're not able to make while they're living in it, it all gets wiped to zero. It's not costing them. You have methods to satisfy the lender's requirements. See, the lenders asked for this and asked for that for months and months, and the homeowner has not responded, they haven't done things. You're taking over that, okay? You're handling that for the bank. They're very happy with you, okay? And so you're willing to work with the borrower to get what they need. So you'll go to the borrower and you'll get the bank statements that are needed. You have a buyer for the house that's cash as is. The bank wants that. And the seller, you can get them some money to move most of the time, 90%. Don't ever promise the homeowner, the seller, that you're going to get the money. Tell them, hey, let me find out for you and get back with you. And so we're not going to get into that, how you do that, but you get the bank paid off, okay? The seller gets rid of the debt forever, okay? And the buyer investor owns a house that you can fix up, bring value to it, get it retitled without blemishes on the title, and get this thing in a condition that can provide home ownership to people in America. Now, where do you really find these? So we've got people from all over the country. I can't show every single location. So basically, I'm just showing one for, Missouri, St. Louis and Kansas City. If you're there, you're really, blessed to be on this call because I'm actually showing you your website, okay, and stuff. So, if you want to know more about yours, just text short to my number, and then we can kind of go into how to use the internet to get those. This is part of a much larger presentation that I have that is free, where I go into the website and show you how to get them. We don't have time on here to do that. So like I said, if you text short to this phone number, then I can send you that longer presentation that would go into those locations with it. So now, what do you do? How do you get to them? Okay, so here's what I do, and there are many ways, but I mail them a letter and I tell them that I want to buy their house. Now, this is important. I think this is legal. when you are a buyer of a house, you're what's called a principal. You have legal standing. You're not acting as a real estate agent. You're not saying to the seller, I have somebody else to buy the house. Okay, that's acting as a realtor. You may not have a license to do that. So instead, you want to mail them a letter and let them know you want to buy their house. That gives you legal standing to talk to them about the house, find out the condition of it, see how much they want for the house. And that's what you do in the beginning. You don't call them up or send them a letter and say, hey, you idiot, you got a foreclosure date next week. You better sell me your house. That's not what you do. You come in as a buyer, let them go, oh man, I'd love to sell you my house, but I'm about to lose it in 2 weeks. Well, that's not a problem. I actually do short sales all the time, and so I can still easily buy your house. Let's get that. Let's see if we can get that foreclosure postponed. Okay, so second, mail them an additional letter that says we can help them. Okay, tell them that you can help them to avoid foreclosure and save their credit. Tell them, that to call you to find out options that are best for them. Be very clear. Never, well, actually, let me rephrase it. Be clear and say there's no out-of-pocket fees. You will never, ever charge the homeowner for anything you're doing to help them through a short sale. You're not a mortgage broker. You're not doing a loan modification. Those require licenses, okay? You're not being paid a fee to do anything with them, okay? Let them know you can pay cash. Let them know that there's more options, and the sooner they call, the better, okay? So basically, you mail stuff to them. To find out more about marketing, text short to my phone number again. It's a bigger presentation. I had to pull the stuff out of it and insert a slide here that says this because I'm quickly running out of time with it and stuff and everything. So anyway, so yeah, and so I've got a script too. Sorry, no time to go through that, but there's some key areas in it that you want to be aware of, and stuff, such as your state. What is the number of years that the bank has to come back and get the money from them? Missouri's 7 years, and so no, they're not going to come and get the money today because they don't have a job. But what happens in 3 years, Mr. Homeowner? In 3 years, when you've got a job, and if the bank finds out where you work, they can garnish your paycheck. You gave up that right on the foreclosure date. So don't let that happen. Let me help you with the short sale process. The credit hit, for foreclosure and bankruptcy, is what's, in that script and stuff like that and things. So those are keys to point out, about the credit hit. Some say, well, I'll just file bankruptcy. Well, always let them know that they also have to file foreclosure to get the actual house title with it. And so that's 2 things on your record and stuff. So there's they're not going to net as much of the sales price if they try to sell it. There are costs with it. Let them know that you intend to make a profit. So be really clear, with the homeowner that you intend to buy this house, fix it up, and sell it. You're buying it for the purpose of selling it and fixing it up or renting it out. Whatever you're going to do with the house, tell the seller up front. Okay, you're not acting as a realtor wanting to list it for a commission. Be really clear, what your motive for doing this. And then they're going to ask, well, why aren't you charging me to do this? Tell them, well, it's really simple because I'm going to fix it up and I'm going to sell it, and stuff like that. So really, let them always understand what your motivation is. So in summary, okay, you can make a lot of money negotiating short sales directly with a bank as an investor. Okay, you can help families out of a crisis that is still occurring even today. It's even worse now. So I want you to keep in mind, I've been making money when there was no pandemic. I was making money when people aren't doing short sales. Nobody sent me the memo to quit doing them. So 2000, 18, 19, 20, 17, 15, 14, 13, all the years I've been doing them, making the kind of profits that you saw in pre-pandemic. And so in that time frame, in my local county, there were 40 a month. Okay, I only need 1. In St. Louis, okay, itself, which is, right next to me, there's 300 per month pre-pandemic. I need one that month. There's 299 left, okay? Today, we are in a position where it is 5 times higher, okay? There are 5 times as many people that are not able to make their payment due to the pandemic, okay? They don't have a foreclosure date, but I want to reiterate a very important thing that you should all write down. The definition of a short sale is the homeowner missed one payment. I'm going to repeat that. The definition of a short sale is the seller homeowner missed one mortgage payment. That's all you need to do a short sale. You do not want a foreclosure date. You do not want the forbearance program to be stopped. If you do, then there's a foreclosure date. The first thing you have to do is stop the foreclosure date. Why do you want all that extra work? Okay, so you need to reach out to them that have missed the payment but don't have a foreclosure date and stuff. Anyway, so I want to leave. We don't have much time. So this is my contact information here. Just text me or go to my website, davidrandolph.com, to get more information. You text that, I'll send you a free, bigger presentation with those things in there so that you can see them and look at them and everything. So let me, Renika, just open it up to questions or however you want to do that.
Yes, thank you so much, David, for the presentation. Great information. We do have a lot of questions, so I'm just going to go through and we can go over just to make sure we get questions answered. So the first question I want to ask is, after the current mortgage foreclosure moratorium with the FHA loan ends, do you expect banks to file thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of owners who are behind?
Absolutely. That's a great question. You need to understand some statistics. This is that part I said in the beginning where I do research, and contact me, get in contact with me about the research and other things like that, and I can give you the data. But the banks have paid $545 billion over the past 9 to 10 months making the payments for all of these homeowners. So here's how it works. A bank is a servicer of a loan. They are in a contract with the lender. And so that bank collects the payments, they pay the real estate taxes, and they have to give 80% of that monthly payment to the actual lender, the people that supplied the money. So all these banks are on the hook for $545 billion. They didn't get any PPP money. Okay, how long do you think they're going to continue allowing that to happen? We're already now seeing foreclosures increase 10% each month because guess what? I'm going to say this on a recorded thing. Okay, this is probably not smart, but the banks are looking out after their selves, not the homeowner. And so if the homeowner doesn't jump through the hoops needed to stay in forbearance, whoops, the bank forecloses on them. Okay, and so it's already starting to increase now. I hope that it goes slowly like this, but unfortunately, the way forbearance works is you do get kicked off at the end. Okay, all of the CARES Act and the other programs that were put in place December 27th and the current ones, they simply allow new people to come into forbearance. The people that are already on it are still only on for a finite period of time. They're all coming due. It's been 12 months, March to March. And so, so yes, it could be very rapid, but it's hard to tell. The banks right now are accepting almost anything I offer on the house. I'm not kidding you. They know what happened. And when you're doing a short sale right now and you're submitting an offer to the bank, they are accepting it. $25,000 for a house that's worth 150 and stuff. So that's a good question. The banks are going to foreclose very quickly through the forbearance program itself.
Okay. Another question that came in, will the bank stop the foreclosure sale once the short sale negotiations begins?
Yes, so if there is a foreclosure date, you must stop it. And so if you turn in the proper paperwork, the bank will postpone it. Now, if you don't have a foreclosure date, which is what we have now and is very beautiful, then you don't have to deal with it. You can do the short sale without a foreclosure date. The homeowner's proactively trying to sell his house because he knows he can't make his payments. He doesn't need a foreclosure date, with it.
Okay, great. So the next question is, I just have a general question about the networking events. So Advanta, we host the Pitch Promote Prosper. It's every other Friday. Definitely go to our website, advantaira.com, our events page, and you can sign up to attend. It's a free Zoom call. So next question relating to your presentation, David, is the deed restriction enforceable that prohibits selling within 30 or 90 days?
Absolutely, it's enforceable because it's on the deed that gets recorded in public records. Okay, so that warranty deed that you have, it's like the title to a car, that document that's recorded in public records states right there on it the exact statement. 30 days cannot be sold, 90 days 120% more than what was paid for it. So anytime you sell it to somebody else, they can't get title. They can't get title insurance. You can't close on it because the new title company sees the warranty deed, says there's a deed restriction. Absolutely, you can't do it through that. Now, I'm not saying there's not ways around it. There are ways around that, but it does not. It is not violating that deed restriction.
Okay, next question. Are the docs that you were speaking about are provided to the bank by the seller? Like, how do you go about obtaining those appropriate documents?
No, you are in contact with the bank. You're providing everything to the bank itself. You're like a liaison with the homeowner. The homeowner knows, likes, and trusts you. And when you say, Mr. Homeowner, I need you to sign this RMA, request for mortgage assistance form here, just sign it right here. Okay, look over this and let's fill this out. And then you send that in. Then you deal with the bank and the documents. The bank does not contact the seller and say, please send me bank statements or pay stubs, the other things that are listed on there. You are providing that. You're the processor of paperwork, okay? And hire an assistant if you want to, but you're processing the paperwork with a bank directly.
Okay, next question is there a redemption period in some states?
Yes, some states do have a redemption period. Missouri has one, but you have to actually post a bond for the full price of the loan before closing. Well, if you had all the money to pay the loan off, why would you post a bond? You would just pay the loan off. So you do have to look at each state, but very, very few have anything that ever really cause a restriction with anybody buying houses. I mean, look, they buy houses on the courthouse steps all the time, as a foreclosure with it. Here, you don't have that in a short sale because the seller is actually signing a purchase sale contract and going through a normal closing at a normal title company. So there's no redemption in that regard.
Okay, next question is, can you let the seller live in the short sale house during the rehab?
Absolutely not. It is federal law. You will go to jail and the homeowner will go to jail. You cannot rent the house back to the homeowner. You cannot sell the house back to the homeowner. Matter of fact, one of the things I teach in my workshop is that you tell the homeowner that he has to be out of the house 2 days before closing because you have to take pictures of it showing the bank that it's empty and that you're not actually in it. And so then you can come to closing and then they can get their check. It is federal law that they cannot do that.
Okay, next question is, when it comes to doing a short sale on a reverse mortgage, do you find these to be even more cumbersome to complete?
Yes, I do not like reverse mortgages. There's several reasons. The biggest one is that the bank's process that they follow is that they will only accept like 95% of the appraisal amount. Okay, well, you're not going to make much money if the bank, if the reverse mortgage policy is they only accept 95%. Why don't you do an FHA or Fannie Mae where they accept 84% instead of 95%? So I stay away from reverse mortgages.
Okay, next question is, the current mortgage interest rate is 2.75%. The main cause of this is the seller's market. That will mean the BPOs will come in high. Are you finding it to get short sales approved when it's a seller's market? Are the BPOs coming in too high?
No, it's irrelevant what the market's doing. It's an appraisal is an appraisal at any day of the year, and they're pulling sold comps. Okay, that's what they're looking at is the value. What I think you need to look at and probably be aware of, is that you know, well, I guess I'll just, that was the answer to the question. No, it's always based on the comps that are there at the time. It doesn't matter what the market's doing. A sold comp is a sold data point.
Okay, next question is, how do you check lanes and what lanes do you pass on moving forward in buying the property?
I almost never pass. First of all, a lot of people don't know this. I'm sure we're allowed to give out some tips and tricks on here with it and stuff. And so here's a neat little trick that so many people don't understand and realize. Someone will see a second lien, or sorry, a second mortgage on the house, right? So they have a first mortgage, and then over time they got a second mortgage for maybe $50,000, $60,000, and they go, oh my gosh, I don't want to do the short sale because all that is owed on the house. Well, it's actually a regulation that a government-owned loan, a government bank must accept $6,000 for that second mortgage. I don't care if the second mortgage is $100,000. They have to accept $6,000. So do the short sale. It's easy. It's not a problem. So no, I don't, because I know how to get those liens removed.
Okay, next question is, how do you find a seller's contact information?
Well, that was where I couldn't present that, but this internet sites of the county, uh, each county that you live in has a legal newspaper, and that's where they're posted. And like I said, text short to my phone number on the screen, and we can get you my bigger presentation on that for free.
Okay,
I'm not
and I actually
charging.
had a question about, so what is a legal newspaper? That was one of the questions that came in.
Yeah, very good question. That I say that because it is different. It's not your, St. Charles Journal that gets thrown on your street. Every county has what's called a legal newspaper where government bids are posted, divorces are posted, and so you have to find that. And so if you contact me, I can, like in my basic workshop, we go through how to find that, your county. But yeah, correct. It is not it's not a normal newspaper.
Okay, next question is, do you buy in second lien position if in default?
No, because if you take over a second mortgage, you're responsible for the first mortgage. So no, you don't want to do that. You are doing a short sale on the entire house, and everything is getting removed.
Okay, just a couple more questions. So next one is, should we engage a realtor that would be dealing with the bank,
No, absolutely not. Um, this is for you to do it, okay? For you to learn how to do the short sales, not for the realtor. Okay, this is for you to make those profit numbers I showed you. Your skill of being able to do the David Randolph method of short sales with it. You can have a realtor be the person that lists the house on the MLS for you, but you are the processor of the paperwork.
Okay. Next question is, how did you get the bank to take those prices when you were going through your pretty much case studies or
Yeah,
examples?
right. Okay. How did I get? It's unfortunate, but in every one of those cases, the bank forced me to pay that price. They required it to me. They said if I didn't pay that price, that they wouldn't sell the house. Now I agreed. I liked the price, but the bank forced me. They gave me a letter. They came out. They did their appraisal. They did everything that the bank does. They are a 600-pound gorilla. They made the determination of what the house was worth, and then they told me that I had to pay that if the buyer wanted to get the house.
Okay. Comment and then question included. So normally a seller is not supposed to receive money from the sale, except for some money to move out. When the owner is deceased, then you need to deal with an administrator. How do you motivate the administrator to sell the house when the estate is not supposed to get any money?
Um, Yeah, it's kind of a tough situation because you also don't have the credit hit because the person's dead. So, the foreclosure, isn't going to do anything with that. So it's probably one of the more difficult situations. Really what you're wanting to try to do is, let them know that, they're responsible for that house and until that foreclosure takes place. And so really that you can try and do a short sale and you can actually get this done much quicker. So if you're in a judicial state, the bank, well, in any death situation, I think this is federal law, in any death situation, the bank, has to wait 6 months before they do anything. Okay, so now that means that executor has to maintain the utilities, keep the house up, make sure teenagers don't get hurt inside of it, whereas you can, do the short sale and pull that house, out and get it sold, through that, through that approval process of probate with the executor. So really, it's just more of a maintenance issue of the house.
Okay, great. So last two comments. One is asking for clarification on something. Did you say that a short sale investor, I don't want the forbearance to stop for the homeowner? Can you clarify that?
Yeah, and then I say tongue in cheek, because I don't want to get into political anythings with it, but just picture this: if they removed the forbearance plan, the CARES Act, and canceled all of it, okay, and now all these people haven't been making payments for 12 months, the bank forecloses after 3 months of missed payments anyway. So if all 2.7 million homes that are in forbearance went to foreclosure today, none of us could move fast enough to do a short sale, okay, with it. So, why don't we help these homeowners ourselves and pick them off one by one, okay, so that we can make a lot more money over time. The homeowner gets the ability to actually get their life together, to find another job, and to catch up all their payments. And those that can. Those that can't, we do the short sale. So, if forbearance was removed, I think that's a terrible situation, for you as the investor and for on a personal level for me, for America, to happen at this point in time. So I think it would be best for forbearance to stay in place. It's not stopping me and my students from doing short sales today, and the banks are accepting almost anything that it seems like we want to offer on the house. And I don't want to explain that right now, but just contact me and we can go into it more.
Okay, thank you so much. Very last question is, in your experience, how often do lenders do deed in lieu of foreclosure? Why aren't lenders doing these more often?
They almost never do a deed in lieu. It is always offered to the seller, to the homeowner as a workout type option, but they almost never approve it. And here's why: if they do it, they accept every single second lien, every HOA, every judgment, everything stays on the house. The bank doesn't want that. If the bank goes to foreclosure, it wipes out the second, it wipes out any judgments. So the bank almost never accepts a deed in lieu.
Okay, that covers all of the questions. Thank you so much, David. This was great information, a lot of information. So definitely, if you want to know more, definitely reach out to David to get a copy of the slides. If you have any questions relating to self-directed, just know that you can reach out to us at Advanta. We're happy to help, happy to discuss what it is. This webinar is recorded, so it will be uploaded within the next 24 to 48 hours. Thank you, everyone. We look forward to having you attend our other events. Look at our events page at Advanta IRA for any upcoming, um, you know, webinars or also the network Pitch, Promote, Prosper. Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.